Hello and welcome to a quick video about installing the Mapmaking Mega Server, which is a Minecraft server that you can run on your computer that comes packaged with different mapmaking plugins. So for instance, World Edit, Voxel Sniper, Fast Async World Edit, and 14erEdit. It's developed and maintained by 14er and is hosted on his GitHub page, which is what you're looking at now. So I will link this in the description, and what you can do to download it, so you are on this page and you want to come over to releases and click on the latest release. So we're going to be installing version 1.5.0, and you only need to do this once because it will automatically update. And so you want to come down here past the changelog and select 14erEdit.jar, like so. Yes, so then we want to save that file. Yeah, so once it's finished downloading, we can open up the containing folder, which is my downloads folder here, and I'm going to now go to my desktop, and I'm just going to drag and drop this into a folder I already made prepared for this, called the MMS tutorial. So once that's in there, we should be able to open up that folder, and we can see, yeah, 14erEdit.jar is in there. So now the next step to do is we want to come down here, and this will be different for Linux and Mac, but for Windows 10 at least, if you type in command prompt, it will pull up a terminal window like this. And so this is the bit that kind of looks a bit less familiar to some people if you've not run a server before, but at the moment we're in my kind of main directory, and so to go from there I want to type in cd, which stands for change directory, and then desktop. So that will take us into our desktop folder, and then from there I'm going to go into my MMS tutorial folder, MMS_tutorial, and if you press tab it will autofill. So you can just type in cd MMS and then press tab. And now if we type in dir, it will list off everything in the directory, so we can check we're in the right place, and we are because we've got this 14erEdit.jar file here. So then all we need to do is type in the following: java -jar and then 14erEdit, and press tab to autofill, but 14erEdit.jar. So that is it, and then we run this, and once we run this we might get an error. This is one of the major problems that I think people run up against, is when they run this file they get an error that says invalid heap size or couldn't reserve enough space. There is a separate video that I will link about solving this problem running Minecraft servers. So it's by a guy called Troubleshoot, and it's about fixing this problem. I'll link that in the description. So if you do run into that error, that's the place to solve it. If you have the correct version of Java installed, this should be absolutely fine. So if we now run this, and now this could take a little while because at this stage it is going to download all of the plugins and everything that it needs to run. So the 14erEdit.jar file that we downloaded is now running, and you can see it creating other folders with 14erEdit, artifacts, backups, and profiles. So gradually this folder, the MMS tutorial folder, will fill up, and I'm just going to let it run, pause the video, and I will come back once this is ready to go. So once the server has finished downloading everything that it needs, it's going to ask you for a profile name. So I'm just going to type in tutorial, and then we can choose the Minecraft version we're looking for. So I'm going to go for 1.16.1. You can set it up for 1.16.2. I'm just still using some plugins or some mods that haven't been updated yet. Here we then get asked what plugins we want to install. So you shouldn't use, there's a few different ones that you shouldn't use together. So you shouldn't have 14erEdit beta and 14erEdit together. You probably shouldn't have World Edit and 14erEdit on at the same time. But the cool thing about this is that you can choose and you can activate and turn them off very easily. So whenever you load up the server you can edit which plugins you're going to be using. For this time I'm just going to use World Edit. And then, so I selected number 4 and then number 9 to be done. And so now you can either create a new profile with number 2, or you can select the profile we've just made. Then we click Start Server, And there are some other options for changing the version, changing the plugins, or changing the RAM. So whenever you load up the profile, if you want to change plugins and use some different plugins, so switch from 14erEdit to WorldEdit, etc., you can do that very easily. And then now, once we start the server, it needs to download the vanilla server jar. So it will do that, and this can take a little while. Some of these steps take a bit longer the first time you do it, but after this will be much faster. So again, I'm going to pause the video and then I'll come back once the server has started running. Okay, it has finished downloading the vanilla jar and it is now running through a few different things, getting the server set up. Yeah, so eventually you get this done and a time that it took. So now our server is running and we should be able to connect to it. So if we go into Minecraft and we go into multiplayer, and we're going to want to add a server. So let's just say this is mapping tutorial server, and the server address is going to be localhost. And you can see it's here. So now if we connect, it'll say please type op username. So if we go into the server and we type op and then our username, that will now make us op on the server, and so now we should be able to connect. Yeah, so now we have connected, and this is the first time I've connected to this server, so it's generating the world and there's a lot going on. But if I do //wand, I should receive an axe. We will be able to fly up, and you can see this is just a randomly generated world, so not necessarily the one you want to use for mapping. If I disconnect from the server, and I'm just going to minimize that. If we come into our MMS tutorial folder and we look at profiles and tutorial, you can see we have our world folder in here, so we can replace these folders with a custom world if we want to, and that way we can basically have our whatever map we're working on in a profile and we can work on it like that. That's going to be the end of the video and the end of the tutorial. The only other thing to say is how to shut down the server, so you don't just want to close this window. The way I usually do this is to press Ctrl+C, and this will stop the server and save the world and do everything. Just pressing Control and C will close the server for you, and when you do that it will also create a backup. So if I go into MMS tutorial backups, you can see it's created a zipped folder backup of the world that you've just closed. That is going to be it for this video. Thank you very much for watching. I hope this has been helpful, and I will see you next time.